Mighty Bomb Jack was released on the NES by Tecmo in 1987 in North America, after appearing on the Famicom in Japan the year prior. It's the follow-up to the 1984 arcade game Bomb Jack, where you play as Bomb Jack, with the objective of collecting all the bombs in a given room, which opens the door to the next stage. Mighty Bomb Jack incorporates this one-screen room mode where you have to collect all the bombs, but it's held off until the end of each level, or round as they're called, serving as the transition between each round. These end-of-the-round rooms are called the Palace Rooms, and the early part of each round is made up of a room, or rooms, that are more expanded in space and lead to the Palace Room. You don't need to collect all the bombs in the main level, just in the Palace Room. You can also skip the entirety of these exploration sections and warp yourself directly to the next Palace Room by collecting the first bomb you see with a lit fuse in the Palace Room last. If you save this bomb for the end, you'll warp straight to the next Palace Room and effectively be playing the game in classic mode. This does lead to the game's bad ending though, leaving you less rewarded than you already did by cutting corners. There are specific special items that are hidden throughout the game, where if you collect them, you'll be able to reach the better endings. Although you do have to complete additional screens in the process, there are 4 different endings in total. You get a ton of hang time while jumping, and you can even hover, essentially riding the brakes on your way down, as well as extend the height of your normal jumps or forcing yourself to the ground quicker. It feels like you're on the moon, but you do get a lot of options to control your jumps, which you need, especially as the game progresses, because these enemies have some of the most erratic, moth-like patterns I've seen in a game. They do differ from each other in terms of how they behave, but your basic strategy in dealing with all of them is pretty much to just stay the fuck away from them. A lot of the time, the best bet is to push yourself through the level and bypassing items and bombs, because it's not worth hanging back to grab them if it means you're going to get swarmed. There are 7 different kinds of enemies, and they all start off as mummies, who mainly just wander around. After a little while, they will transform into one of 6 other enemies. Which enemy they transform into depends on how many times you've pressed the A button. Each enemy is represented by a number, and it works in a rotation. The bats just bounce around aimlessly, the bugs move in your direction slowly, the headless turtles will do the same but at different speeds depending on how close you are. The skulls will bounce around aimlessly until coming at you from above or below. The flames will do the opposite and attack horizontally, and the parrots attack from horizontal or vertical and wander around aimlessly otherwise. You need to jump on the treasure chests to open them up. The red ones are normal chests you can open at any time, but you'll need to increase your power level to open up the orange ones, which usually house better items. Pressing B will increase your power level and you'll turn blue. From here you can open up the orange chests. The next level of power is orange, and you can just run through the chests to open them up. The third and final level of power is green, and you can not only walk through chests, but you'll turn all the enemies on screen to coins, which give you more points. The mighty coins are far more valuable. These are what you need to increase your power. But if you get too many of these mighty coins, or add too much time to your time limit by collecting these mighty drinks, you're exiled to a torture room for being too greedy. What the fuck? In these torture rooms, you're trapped in a small room and you have to jump 50 times while avoiding enemies to get out. It's pretty silly to force you to scale back your efforts and be conservative with your power-ups while offering no real incentive to risk your life to pick up items for points. There are also power balls that functions the same as your green power with changing all the enemies into coins, although it won't automatically grant you the power to run through chests. Then there are bonus coins that grant you more points, and extra coins that give you an extra life. The last of these items are the Sphinxes, that not only give you points, but they generally are there to open up blocked or hidden doors. So the game's plot is that a demon going by the name Beelzebub has captured the royal family and trapped them in the pyramid that makes up all the game's levels. The king, queen, and princess need to be rescued, but you might not be able to save them all, which makes up the good or bad endings. To to get the better endings, you'll need to have collected 5 of the secret coins and both of the crystal balls, all of which are hidden in various levels throughout the game. Mighty Bomb Jack isn't the most polished game in the world, but it has a fun, quaint vibe that fits as an appropriate hybrid of the original Bomb Jack it's based on, mixed with the longer formed platform stages of many home console games at the time. So the first round is a pretty easy, straightforward level, just straight across from left to right, and there's only one door you can enter at the end that leads to the palace room. Now, I did mention earlier that the enemies all transform from mummies, so there's no telling which enemies you're going to be dealing with specifically throughout any given stage, but one rule of thumb is not to get cornered in a tight space. You want to be able to evade these guys, so having more space is always ideal. This first round is mostly wide open, and the earlier stages take longer for the mummies to transform, so I'd say grab everything, open up all the chests, collect the mighty coins. Just don't let yourself get caught in these little nooks near the end if there are enemies nearby. Hit the door up here for the palace room, collect all the bombs quickly to open up the door, and advance through. The second round is a vertical drop. Let yourself glide down, grabbing bombs and chests if you like, and grab the Sphinx out of the chest down here. Right next to that is a hidden treasure room for some items in these chests, including a mighty drink, coin, 300 points, and a balloon. There are a couple orange chests here too. Grab them if you want a coin and balloon, and let yourself drop the rest of the way to the door and the palace room. The third round is back to horizontal scrolling, and it's a lot tighter than the previous two. Don't let yourself get cornered under these trees. Make sure there's space before going in there for the treasures. At the fork, taking the upper path will lead to a shit ton of optional treasures against the wall, and you can access the hidden Sphinx under this rock here to get to the invisible chest containing it. This opens up the treasure room through the floor in the bottom path that leads to the treasure bags and slaves. What? Yeah, I didn't mention this earlier. These are imprisoned slaves. If you collect them, or free them I guess, you'll get big bonus points. Whoop-de-doo. Open up the breakable chunks in the floor to get them, and the door to the palace room is right after. Round 4 is broken up into multiple parts. There's a hidden mighty drink at the beginning, and another one in the chest back here, as well as an invisible mighty coin on this platform. At the end, there are 2 doors. If you take the door against the wall, you'll end up here. Stay high to avoid the flames down below. You don't want to get yourself killed, so make sure you glide as long as you can while heading across this long line of flames. The door at the end takes you to the last part of the round, but let's circle back to your other options back at the beginning if you go up this door. This is like round 2, but instead of letting yourself drop, you have to climb up vertically. About 2/3 of the way up, there's a door to the next section, but it's worth going back up for an extra life in this chest. The next section is really short and sweet. Grab the treasures and hit up the door up top, and you'll drop down a vertical segment with a few chests and bombs, and a mighty drink and coin in 2 of the respective chests. The door at the bottom leads to the next section, where if you head to the end and break through the floor for the hidden Sphinx, you'll open up a secret room back here. Just make sure to shift yourself as soon as you enter so you don't drop back down. There's a hidden chest for a slave in here, and if you're at green power, you can get a secret coin up here. If you get 5 of these, you'll get a better ending to the game later on. Right after where you grab that Sphinx is a door to the last section, which is where we last left off if you took the low route. So yeah, the top route is longer, but you do get more shit, so the choice is yours. You'll drop down from the top if you took the long path, and you'll climb from the bottom if you took the shortcut. The door is more or less at the halfway point on the right side to the palace room. Round 5 starts with a vertical climb. It's mostly pretty tight, so you want to stay on the move. There's a locked door at the halfway point that leads to some treasures. Grab the hidden Sphinx in the floor here to unlock the door. To the right of that room is another hidden room, but you can only get in if you're on green power. And here you can free a slave. Just make sure to avoid this chest, because an enemy will be occupying it. Right above the door is an orange chest containing a secret coin. Keep climbing and go through the door in the ceiling to the next section. Banging to the right is optional if you want to try for a couple coins and a hidden drink. But with all these totem poles, it's tight throughout the whole area, including the entire way to the left, where you might want to stop for some coins in the chests. But don't hang around for too long and get ambushed. There are a couple hidden sphinxes in these totem poles, but you might not want to risk getting overwhelmed, even if there's a hidden treasure room in the middle that opens up after you get the sphinx, especially since you have to backtrack, but that's an option. Round 6 is a vertical climb. Make sure to get maximum hang time when launching yourself through these long distances. Grab the drink in the chest here, and if you're at green power, you can get into this door on the side here for a bunch of treasure chests containing balloons. Keep climbing, free the hidden slave in this rock, and there's a coin and a drink toward the top right after the door leading to another section that's short and sweet right before the door to the palace room. Round 7 starts off with a shit ton of treasures blocked underneath the floor here. Get yourself to orange power and break through to get to some mighty coins. Shortly after is a door to a vertical drop. Glide your way down, grab the drink that's hidden in the rock here, and free the hidden slaves. There's one up here and another one along the bottom right before the door to the next section. But before we go there, keep in mind that if you want the best ending, you're gonna need to hit up a secret in this stage. This flame is bullshit, so you can stand on it just fine. Jump on it to reveal a hidden sphinx that'll open up a hidden door about halfway down. This next room has a long stretch of fire you'll have to glide your way across, and there are some coins, drinks, slaves, and a secret coin in the chests along the way. Then the next section is a vertical climb. There's some coins in the chests, but there's also a hidden chest up here that has a sphinx that opens up the crystal ballroom. You'll have to quickly dig through the treasures to get to this particular block in order to access the ball. As mentioned earlier, you need this item to get the best ending. Get out of the room via the door down here, and after a short section, you'll end up in another vertical climb. There are some coins and sphinxes in the chests, and if you're at green power, you can enter this treasure room on the side, jump through all the chests to get a huge stash, including a secret coin. At the end of the section, you'll actually warp straight to round 10, but going back to where we were earlier in case you're going through sequentially. This will lead you to a fairly short but very tight section with a good amount of chests and items. Pick them up at your own risk, and the door to the palace room is right after. In round 8, you've got a hidden slave in the rock here at the beginning. Free him and move along, watching the fire as you go. Slip into this nook for some treasures like the mighty coin and drink, and there's a hidden treasure room in here. Grab the sphinx in this chest to unlock the door. And here is a slave and some treasure bags in the chests. Go back and up into the ceiling door for the next section. It's a vertical climb. There's a drink in this tight nook surrounded by fire. Get out of there quickly if you decide to give it a go, and climb up for the door to the palace room. Round 9 is outside, and it pretty much consists of you hopping across the clouds to the door, then climbing the clouds to another door, and then hopping across the clouds to another door to the palace room. Move quickly cause the clouds are small, and there's nothing but fire below you. Round 10 only has one section. It's a straight shot from left to right, like round 1, but it's a claustrophobe's nightmare, so tread lightly if you decide to stop for treasures. There's a mighty coin in here if you bust through the rock, a hidden drink in the floor here, and a plethora of chests containing mighty coins in here. You have to jump in this spot a few times to break through, and the palace room is right after. Round 11 starts out with a ton of long jumps on small platforms. Do not take this door. It's not a treasure room, it leads you back to round 6. So just keep going, grab the sphinx in the orange chest, and the mighty coin in the chest down here before the door to the next section. This is a vertical drop with a locked door on the side. To unlock it, you have to glide your way down the whole room and collect the bombs in this ultra-specific order. Thankfully, it's an easy pattern, just left to right, then right to left on the next row, and then back and forth, and so on and so forth, all the way to the bottom. You have to collect every single one of them while avoiding the enemies and the fire, as well as climbing back up after reaching the bottom to get to the door, which contains a slave and some coins. It's up to you if you want to risk it for the biscuit. The door at the bottom leads to one more small room with a long fire pit. There's also a hidden secret coin in the platform here. Then glide across the pit, grab the mighty drink in the chest, and launch up for the door to the palace room. Round 12 is another short, one-room straight shot to the door to the palace room from left to right, but there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. The first half of the room is claustrophobic as fuck. There's a lot of treasures in the chests, but they're mostly confined to the same spot, so you'll have to do some evading. Then it's a long glide across a fire pit with a slave and mighty coin in the chests below the door to the palace room. But before you go, you might want to take the hidden door, if you want the other crystal ball for the best ending. Along the glide is a sphinx in a hidden chest. Open it up to reveal the hidden door, and drop in. Just make sure you have at least 2 mighty coins going in. Now you're in a massive maze of rooms. This shit takes up like half the fucking pyramid. Go down through the first floor and to the right, which are the only options, then all the way across the room to the door down here, then right, then down 2 rooms, bang a left, then down, bang a right, and down this room to get another hidden sphinx, which is in one of the hidden chests in the back of the room. This opens up the room you came this way for, so come back up. Keep going left, up through this door, left 2 rooms, then up, down the next door 2 rooms through, and follow the linear path for the next one, and drop down another room to get to the crystal ball room. Break through the blocks to get to the ball, which is what you'll need the mighty coins for. Go back up, and then left 3 rooms, and up 6 more to get back up and out of the maze area. Keep in mind, if you die after you get the crystal ball, don't go back, it's still in your inventory. In round 13, you'll get a vertical climb section to start. There's a locked treasure room you need to grab this hidden sphinx to unlock, and you have to do so in very careful fashion, gliding just above the flame. The treasure room up top leads to some chests, and you can access another room if you're at green power for some more treasures. And then one more room after that if you grab the hidden sphinx. There's a butt ton of goodies in here. The door to the next section is directly across from the treasure room, which leads you outside. Hop across the clouds to the next door, ascend the clouds to the next one, and then from right to left across some more clouds to the palace room door. Round 14 is pretty short too. Glide over the river of flame, don't jump too high as you traverse under the flame sticks, and the door leads to the home stretch. If you take this route down here, you'll get to a bonus room, but the only way to unlock it is to take the other way and grab the hidden sphinx right before the palace room door. Going through with this bonus room leads to dangerous backtracking, as the enemies grow a hankering to swarm your ass, so it's probably not worth your trouble, even though there's some good treasures and slaves in here. Round 15 is another right to left one. It's wide open in the first half, claustrophobic in the second half, and filled with treasures all throughout, including lots of coins. There's a treasure room about 3/4 of the way through the stage, which you'll have to unlock early on by grabbing the hidden sphinx. This leads to mighty coins, a mighty drink, a balloon, and a slave amongst other treasure bags. And the palace room is shortly after that when you get back out. The first section in round 16 is a short vertical climb. There's a secret coin tucked away in the bottom corner here, and a slave in the orange chest right after. Then you'll hit up the door to the next section, and it's mostly made up of long fire pits. Glide your way across, stop for treasures if you like. There's a lot of coins, a slave, and some mighty drinks in the chests. In this section is the one item that only appears once, the Tecmo Rabbit token. There's a hidden chest here that contains a sphinx. Grab it to unlock the door in the ceiling, and use this hidden chest to reach it, and enter the hidden room for the token. You'll get 100,000 points and extra life for your efforts. There's a bunch of chests with treasure bags in them in here. You'll have to cut through the floor here to get them, and the door to the last palace room is right after. Round 17 is the final stage of the game. It's a vertical climb stage, but once you get to the top, it's like, where the fuck am I supposed to go? Unlike earlier in the game where the hidden doors were strictly for optional side quests and shit, now it's necessary. First you need to get the hidden sphinx in the floor here, which opens up the first hidden door, which has a bunch of chests, which includes another sphinx, which opens up the other hidden door on the ceiling at the top of the main room. Also, if you need another secret coin, there's one right near the hidden door up here by the chests. Now what happens next depends entirely on how many of the special items you've collected. The first room you'll get no matter what, where you have to break this block to rescue the king, and then get the fuck out of there. If you didn't collect any crystal balls, then this is where the game ends. It's the worst ending, but it's over. If you've collected one of the 2 crystal balls, you'll enter another room after the king's room and have to rescue the queen. Break this block to get her, get out, and you'll get the second to worst ending. Unless you have both crystal balls, then you get access to the princess's room. Break through these blocks to rescue her, and get out for the second best ending. If you acquired 5 of the secret coins, then you get to the final treasure room from here, where you'll need to break through this block to get to it, get out, and you'll get the best ending. Avoiding the enemies in these final rooms is far from easy, especially if you're dealing with the faster shit like the decapitated turtles or something. The pyramid blows up, as opposed to only a small portion of it blowing up in the worst ending, but at least, even in the worst ending, Beelzebub is dead and the world is restored to peace. And that's a pretty damn good ending to me. I can only imagine what the best ending would be. It must be complete nirvana. Okay, I'm pretty speechless here. But that was the end of Mighty Bomb Jack, and there wouldn't be any more sequels, although there were some obscure follow-ups to the original Bomb Jack arcade game, and you would get to see Bomb Jack make a cameo appearance performing the Super Bowl halftime show in Tecmo Super Bowl in 1991. But that would wrap things up for Mighty Bomb Jack, and that'll wrap up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.